Yo guys, welcome back. Okay, so here we've got a 320 two-door chrome bumper. So the pre-facelift. This car we inherited this year as a project, and originally started its life with a 320, but now with a S54. So the S54 is from the E46 M3s. Guy had a SMG gearbox in there. They made it manual because we've got the shell of the car here. So the previous owner, the previous builder, put motor in. The motor was skewed. There's a lot of work that's gone into the car. The prop is done. The exhaust was done. They managed to get the car started off, but this car always had a problem with starting up and dying, starting up and dying. So what the car came to us, I managed to start the car up. It done the same thing. It started off and died. Started off and died all the time. At one point, I actually managed to take the car down the road and drive it back, but the car didn't want to rev up. There was a whole lot of drama and a whole lot of issues with it. We went through the wiring, so we went through the vehicle wiring, got that sorted out, and we thought that the wiring was sorted out from the engine side because the car was starting. So anyway, in December, the car just started doing that permanently. Then we decided, okay, fine, let's maybe try and. By the way, the car is running on a standard issue. Let's take the standard issue in and let's have it. Let's get the emo off on it or the EWS deleted on it. Done that, came back, and we still having the same issue. So what I've done is we ripped the wiring apart because there's joints for joints for joints. So in order to understand this wiring here, we've taken it apart and we decided to start up fresh. So the work that we've carried out so far on the car is basically there was a lot of suspension issues with the car. So bearings were an issue, bushes were an issue, your ball joints, thyroid and stuff like that. We seem to have done that, but I haven't been able to test drive the car as yet. Motor was sitting very skew. We got the motor lineup, got the motor straight. Brake booster, we had to move that down and get that mounted in properly and actually build a bracket because once you cut lower down, your plate actually flexes quite a bit. So we had to get that done. And now we're moving on to the wiring section of it. So we're gonna do something different here this time, pal. I've got the wiring set up on the bench now, right? And in the next clip, you'll see us starting with it. But I've done some research on the S54s and I can't really find much in there is information, but there's not a whole lot of information. So some of the information that is available is like guys overseas that's got ready-made looms and harnesses and the issues are I'm gonna just say coded or certain items are deleted. But it's costly for South Africans to just purchase from there, right? It is a cost factor, number one. Number two, the time factor of it as well. So let's do this here. I found some information that gives me pinouts on the issue and we can trace and see where the pinouts need to go. We are running an EWS delete now at this point in time. So there is a bridge that's got to take place on that EWS and we are running the electric pedal in here. Let's go through the basics. Let's see if we can get this right. Let's see if we're able to figure this out, right? So we're going to do this here together now. I'm gonna go step by step with you. So this is gonna be like a few part series until we get the car started. But the thing is, whatever I learn, I'm gonna put up on the channel, right? So I'm gonna try and document it as far as possible, and then we're gonna put it up on the channel once the car starts up. It's just doing it now if we don't know if it's gonna work. So let's do this here. Let's get to the bench. I've got the wiring laid out. You guys are gonna see what's gonna happen with it, and we're gonna do part one. Is basically let's just mark the harness first out. Let's see what is what, and then maybe part two. Let's neaten up the harness, and from there uh, start seeing where we need to plug in. Once that is ironed out, then we can come back, put the harness back on, and try and start up because the EWS is deleted already, right? The OBD plug has been cut off, so I can't even run. We can't even run proper diagnostics with it. I've got a pinout for it. I've got a wiring pinout for it. We managed to get. We managed. Sorry, when we plugged in, we couldn't even get communications to the EWS. So what I have noticed is that the elect the throttle bodies on here have the electronic throttles, right? The E46s. The E36s are all cable throttles. So you've got to do a calibration basically between the DME and the throttle bodies, and you've got to calibrate it in a certain way. So again, this is new for me. I don't deal with newer stuff. Uh, I'm mostly on the M20s, the M30s. But let's learn from there. We need to get the OBD working so we can calibrate it, right? Let's check for the pinouts. Let's go through the wiring diagrams. Let's do it together. Let's try and find a solution together. If we do find a solution, let's package it together and let the information get out. This is basically if you want to build your car, or if you're putting an S54 in and you want to do your wiring yourself, this is the panel to follow. Let's try that. Let's see if we come right. If we don't, we'll seek help somewhere else. But let's try it ourselves first. Okay, so this is how the loom looks. Right, this is basically your coil pack. Your coil pack and injectors on there. Then on the E36s, they came with its own relays and fuses, right? So I do believe that this here is fuel pump relay on here, but we'll go through this here properly. So our key point here is to first identify what the heck is going on here, because you've got joins upon joins upon joins. So for example, there's just so many joins in here. Like, okay, so I do recognize these wires here. This here should be out of the EWS. So this is the EWS plug here. This is the EWS plug over here, because you've got your start signal, start the wire, and then another signal cable is running from the ECU. I think this is a starter. They call this a starter signal return. So this is pin 1 here. Pin 2 is starter wire, and pin 3, I know it is a starter ignition. Right? So, and then you've got a lot of these cables here running back to the pedal here as well, and some running to the transponder or the key reader, not the transponder, but the key reader. So guys, this is a mess here, right? We're gonna have to try and figure it out, play around with it and see what is going on there. So this is OBD plug. I found some sort of information on this here. And basically we're running an MSS 54 DAV, right? We've done an emo up on it. Okay, so they talk about here, they talk about your one of your plugs, right, which is called the X6003. So if I'm not mistaken, the X6003 plug is your center plug here, right? This is now basically your main ones. We don't actually want to look at this plug. We want to look at the 40 pin plug on this side here. So this is called the X6000 or X6004 plug, right? Which is basically this bunch of wires running over here. So what I'm gonna try and do is, yeah, so it's a whole lot of wires over here, right? So they basically, what I'm gonna try and do is, I'm first gonna just try and go through the color codes that I can find here, I can see, right? So they starting with pin number 1, which is, I first gotta identify where's pin number 1 starting. So let me pull this guy quickly. I'm actually going to pull this loom out of here so I can work separately with this. So here's pin. This is how the loom looks here. So pin number 1, if you're looking at the plug, it's actually marked here. I don't have to guide you guys. Pin number 1 is marked here. It's pin number 1 all the way up to pin number 40, right? So pin number 1, which is blue, right? Blue is going to be your, basically your alternator wire. So what they're saying on the, sorry guys, I'm talking to you as I'm working, right? So what they say is that on the E36 basically gets signal directly from the ECU as to getting it like the E30s. The E30s, we get a signal basically of a light, right, which is on the cluster. So normally your battery light that you see on the cluster will be our signal requirement. So let's do this. Right, let's mark them off first so we've got an identification of what is what. So this here will basically run to, let me read, there is one market here, it's alternator, right? It's pin number, which is market is pin number 1. Okay, so pin number 1 is basically a signal. Terminal 61 on the ECU is for alternator charging, it's for the alternator charging level in the cluster. The alternator is controlled by the BMW itself and not by the cluster. Wireless to whichever connector it is the battery charge indicator level. So basically, this here will run to your blue wire. So you can either connect it directly into your loom on the inside, or you can go, if it has the plastic bumpers, will go into the C101 plug. On the chrome bumper, there is a plain blue, so your charge light, your battery light is there. This one you can run directly to that, so we don't have to tap off. You can basically leave your alternator plug into the loom and tap directly off here, because you are running off the from the ECU. Then pin number 2 is your engine start feedback connector voltage. So it's basically items, but you can add and remove pins. So let me just see what pin number 2 is here. So pin number 2 on this side here is actually open, right? So we're not going to use it. There is, however, other return signals from the starter. That's basically telling the issue that the engine has started, or the is crank signal. The engine is cranking, and that works basically what crank signal has. Right? Pin number 3 is step relay. Your step relay, we don't really want to run this here. We're not running any cats. So let's leave pin number 3 out. Pin number 4 is basically an electric fan. We're not going to use that. Pin number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pin number 5. This is going to get hard as we're going in here, and I need to try and figure out. I don't know. I want to deepen this here, but it's going to get harder. So pin number 5 is a power. 1, 2, 3. There's a yellow and green one. Green we're not going to use. So pin number 4 is empty, and pin number 5 is black and blue, right? Pin number 5 is ground. Pin number 4 is empty slot. He's got, sorry, on the diagram they're talking about pin number 4 is empty slot. I've got pin number 3, 4, 5. So they've got, so yeah, sorry, my bad. So pin number 5 will either be a ground or an empty slot, right? So I'm actually going to scratch this one out on this side here. Pin number 6 will be our starting signal, which is the black and blue, right? So the start signal should go to our, that's the thinnest cable basically running to the starter. Starting signal, same signal to the starter, trigger the starter. It signals the DNE that the engine is cranking, right? So this here will basically run to the thinnest wire on the starter. If you guys remember on the starters, you've got your thick battery permanent cable, and then you've got the medium cable, which is normally your ignition. That's your ignition switch to the starter, and then you've got your signal. So this is starter. Let me see if I can give it a proper name. Starter. I'm just going to call it starter signal, right? Okay, so that is that. So I'm just going to mark everything now. So 1, 6, 7 is ground for the electric pedal. We do need a ground for because we are running electric pedal. But like I'm telling you guys, this is getting harder and harder to find. And I don't want to circle the mark over here now. This green So your brown and green, which is not going to be a long wires over here. Let's see if I can find it at the bottom here. So the brown and green, running to the EWS. This here is your, here's the brown and green here. So the brown and green, we're going to leave it plugged as is, right? That is basically see if I can mark it, right? See if I can mark it. Okay, so your brown and green, there's two brown and green here as well. So it looks like the brown and green is basically going to run as ground. So we're going to mark this guy here. This is going to be ground to the pedal, the electric pedal. So remember your pedal has got 6 wires on it. It's a 6.9. So it's guys, if this system works, right, if this whole thing works out here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make out the diagram and then I will attach it to the final video of it. Okay, so that is number 7. That is pin number 7. That is ground for the electric pedal, right? And that's running basically to pin number 1 of the pedal connector. So it's running to pin number 1 of 6. Number 8 is electric pedal. I've got that here. That's going to be the yellow. Check. So it's the white. The plain white in here. So this is the plain white. This is basically electric pedal. Come out and you can walk it. Pedal. So what we're going to do is all the pedal wires, right, we're basically leaving in place because that's running from your DME plug all the way to your pedal plug, to the 6-pin pedal plug. Right? So this here is 7, 8, so number 9 is going to be a voltage supply to the electric plug. So this is market pedal. Positive. Okay, so guys, like I told you, it's the first time I'm doing this. This is, I think we're actually working it out well because if we get it done this way, we understand what is running where and then wire up accordingly. So pin number 10 is going to be here. It's very silly that this whole design is, but it is what it is. So let's just mark off number 9. Pin number 10 is fuel pump relay of EU models and European models. This is regular relay notification. Okay, so I'm going to leave that because that is probably running to this area. So I'm going to leave pin number 10 out for now, right? Until we figure out what pin number 10 is. Okay. Let's go to pin number 11, we're not going to worry about oil pressure signal. Then pin number 12, so pin number 11 will start here again now. So pin number 11 is going to start here at the bottom. Right. Pin number 11 is switching up. So you're on the progression mark here, pin number 11 is switching up. Pin number 12, which will be the ground. That's a brown, plain brown, it will be ground to the pedal. Again, we're going to leave that here, but let's just mark it so we have an identification on what is what in case we need to troubleshoot. So I'm going to mark this here as payroll GRLE, and we've got that. The number 13 and number 14 are both electric pedals. They're basically running to pin to the 6-pin plug. So here is that. So these three are going to mark them together. So 13 and 14, it just says electronic pedal. It doesn't say what signal it is. So I'm just going to mark them together and I'm going to mark them as electric pedal. Okay. Then, so 13 and 14 is done. Then number 15 is the sport button. Let's see where it is. I'm not going to connect it now because my aim is to get the car started and driving. So number 15 looks like the brown and blue. We're looking at brown and blue will be for the sport button. No. Yeah, I'm going to leave pin number 15 because I'm not going to waste it. Then we've got an RPM signal which is pin number 16, pin number 17 is an RPM signal. So I'm actually curious to see what this RPM signal does. So let me just see it. We've got pin 11, 12, 13. Okay, so the RPM signal here looks to be black and red. So we've got pin 11, 12, 13, 14. So pin 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so this, okay, I'm just going to mark this while so the sport button is actually black and red. Right? So this says sport button, this receives momentary ground signal to turn on sport mode. Right? But I did also find that there is another wire here that basically gives us our indication light for sport mode. So that what we'll do is, once everything is sorted out, we'll actually get that light wired up to sport mode. Sorry, I was supposed to mark the sport button, but already the sport mode. We'll actually get that signal wire connected to a LED light, and we'll insert that into a cluster. Right. So basically, you press a button, your sport mode comes on. Then we've got pin number 16. Sorry, pin number 16 is a sport. Okay, sorry. So pin number 14 is the black and red. Then number 16 is the button switch LED light. So number 16 should be the black and gray. So black and gray, so the yellow stripe. So this should be the sport button light. So that, guys, while I'm marking here, number 17, which is next to the black and gray. So it's a plain black. It's this plain black here, which seems to be a standard color on the DMs. This is going to be your RPM signal, right? So this signal here will go to, you can find on the preface models, you'll find it on the driver's side compartment. There's normally a 3-pin there with another yellow, green and yellow, or brown and yellow, or you'll find it in the C101 connector as well. So this is RPM signal, and then okay, so the TXD. Okay, then basically pins number 18. 18 is activation for heating fuel tank. I'm not too sure what that is. But 1920 oil level signal from the E30 S54. There's no wiring option for that. Vehicle speed that's coming, that's an ABS signal. That must be deleted from the program. Number 23 is not to use, that's blank. Pin number 24 is a brake light switch. Used for cruise control and safety throttle. That can be deleted from the DME as well. 25, 26, 27, 28. We're not going to use 29, 30, and 31. We're not going to use. Then it's TXD diagnostic signal, day bus line. That they say it needs to be wired basically to the OBD pin connector. Okay, so that should be pre-wired in there, right? Already. Then we've got. Take this off here for you. Then we've got pin number 39, which is signal from the radiator temp sensor. We're not going to use it. Number 40 is not being used. Then EPK module, regulator fuel pump relay must be used. E30 relay will not work properly. So that's basically this fuel pump here, right? So we need to then trace this green wire over here and see where this green should be going to. Because if I'm not mistaken, the brown should be our ground. Yeah. So brown is ground. This here should be signal coming. So you're gonna have obviously your normal pin 30, pin 85, 86, 87. So this here is pin 86 will be going. This here should be going to fuel pump if I'm not mistaken. Okay, we're gonna have to trace the fuel pump signal as well now and see where that is running to. Okay. This one looks like it's going to the DME. Okay, so fuel pump, that's something we gotta sort out as well, right? So basically, we've got all of that connected there. We need to see where these guys have got to be connected, right? So as far as I understand, when we do an EWS delete, we've got to bridge pin number 1 and number 2, or pin number 2 and number 3, which will be the two black and blues. So that's your starter wires. That's got to be bridged in there. For what reason, I'm not too sure. And then we've also got to, I see the power lines are also cut here. Yeah, see how they cut here. So let me try and get a pinout diagram of the EWS as well and figure out from here. So we do it, but we are going to delete EWS. I'm going to find out if we even need to power this guy up or do anything with this guy. So guys, basically we need to just make sure that our grounds are sorted out. I'm going to start neatening this harness up here. We'll carry on with that from tomorrow, right? Again, this is going to be a few part series. It's not going to be part 1 or part 2. It's actually, as I go on, I'm going to go on with you guys, and I might sorry, I'm trying to multitask. I might be wiring up and tucking and just neatening while I'm on video, but you guys will bear with me. I think let's do this together and let's see how we can get it figured out. See, there's a whole lot of wiring practice. So what I suggest we do is, it is late fast today. Tomorrow, let us take this harness. So this is the left computer. So this is the X6003 harness. Let's take this harness, let's build it up properly, let's understand there's a lot of joints on here. Let's figure out what's going on here first. I think it looks like they've extended it, but we don't have to extend it further right and right guys. So let's clean this harness up tomorrow, clean this guy out, try and make sense of it first. And then from there, let's get it back into the car. Hopefully the emo delete E is done. And we try and start the car up and see what we're getting from there. Okay guys, you guys know what to do. Like, subscribe, share. And let's see if we can get this car wired up together. Cheers guys.